I'm Harley from Harley's Worms LLC, and we're a commercial worm farm, and we sell worms across the U.S. and ship them. And we sell red wigglers, 100%, no Indian blues, and they're beautiful worms. And we've heard in reviews that we have the best worms across multiple vendors. So if you are out there looking for some good red wiggler stock that you can trust with your money, that's going to be actually red wigglers, we're the right people for the job. And we're also going to get into the top 5 tips on how to maintain your worm bin. And number 1 is going to be moisture, and you're going to want to keep it to where if you squeeze a handful, don't squeeze the worms, make sure it's just dirt and give it a squeeze, and if water comes out, it's pretty damp, and so you wouldn't want to add any more water. And so once you've done it a while, you can kind of just look at it and tell. But outside of moisture, the next best thing you can do is going to be worm chow, and aka worm food. Probably gonna call it worm food because that's what most people call it. On the animal food, it's, rabbit food or whatever. But anyway, not important. But what is important is that you're not sleeping on worm chow, because that's what is a key reason why our worms are fat and healthy and juicy, is because we feed them a lot of worm chow. And what that does is it makes sure, outside of lettuce and food scraps, that there's something in there that's going to stick with them, and that way they can be full as they're going through our house kitchen scraps and everything. And so that's going to be what I would recommend, is get a little worm chow and make sure you're putting that in there at least once a week, and you should be doing pretty good. And number 3 is going to be microbial mix, and that's what you just saw us throwing in there. It was a little dusty, but this is going to make sure that they got broad spectrum nutrients and minerals that even the worm chow's not going to have, and your food scraps are probably not going to have, and your cardboard's definitely not going to have it. And so that's what I'll say about the microbial mix, is definitely don't sleep on it either, as it is a key part on why our worms are doing so good. And number 4 is going to be grit, and this could be one of the more important things. And adding grit to your bin, especially after a few months of being in there, they've probably ate through their initial grit that was in there, and so adding more grit at the 1 month, or at most 1 month, we recommend every 2 weeks to put some oyster shell, and that's what you've seen me grinding up in our miller earlier in the video. And that's gonna help out your worms and make sure that they got something for their gizzard. And number 5 is going to be aeration. And aeration for your worm bin, after you've had your worm bin going for about 3 weeks to a month, it's going to be compacted. And you'll be able to tell because you only be able to run your fingers through about the top 2 or 3 inches of the soil. And so when that happens, it's time to fluff up your bin and to get in there and just start aerating it with your hands and picking up what's on the bottom and putting it on the top and mixing it up. And you only have to do that maybe once a month or more, depending on how active you are on keeping your bin aerated. And it's also going to depend on how much moisture and how much you're feeding. So once it gets compacted, always good to aerate it. And I would also like to say thank y'all for watching and sticking with us on our YouTube journey and our worm journey. And if you could, definitely subscribe for more, and we'll see y'all in a couple weeks. And just so you know, the worms are doing great, we're doing great, and we're still open for business, selling live red wigglers, worm castings, and more at harleysworms.com. Thank y'all.